The wait is over. The DLC will be here tonight, and we've done everything we can before it arrives. We helped every NPC. We used every weapon. We maxed out each stat individually, and we beat every boss a couple of times. But did we? What's the difference between the Godskin Apostle in Altus and the Godskin Apostle at the bottom of the Divine Tower of Caelid? More health and more damage? If more health and damage is enough to quantify a new boss, that means every boss in every new game cycle is technically a new boss. Which means when we did 165 bosses, we only did 1/8 of the available bosses. Today, we fight 1,320 bosses, and we will be maxing out every stat, starting with vigor, moving to mind, then endurance, etc., etc., etc. This is by far the most time any run has ever taken. Please enjoy. To watch these runs live, follow us on Twitch. We're trying to make silly long videos like this once a month, and that means lots of silly long streams. Join the Patreon to keep this content coming. It's the best way to support the channel, and it's how you get exclusive episodes, poll voting, and Discord access. Finally, like and subscribe. We just hit 100,000, but that means we're just on the road to 200,000. Now let's start off with the best stat in the game. Do it healthy. Yeah, so we're starting off as a wretch, level 1. Honestly, how much could a few levels hold us back? Quite a bit. To clarify the rules of the run, we're starting with vigor, then continuing through mind, endurance, etc. Grafted scion has to be skipped because that's not how you get max value from the boss. I need to pinch every penny, dome every dollar, and toss the salad of every bag of cash with a $sign on it. Additional rules as we head into Limgrave: no farming albernerics, birds, or balls in the dragon barrow. We can get a couple runes here or there with enemies in dungeons, but that's just so they stop chasing us, not to get the runes. They're not really worth the runes. The strength physic tier is going to be a big help later, essentially taking 10 levels off the mandatory maximum. Talismans, physic flasks, and armor pieces can all combine together to save us quite a few levels. Radagon and Marika's Sword Seal will give us +5 to every stat, or about 40 levels. Then Millicent's Prosthesis and another +5 talisman will get us 10 for 50 total levels. Add on Godric's Great Rune for +5 to every stat, that's another 40 levels or 90 total levels. Two physics boosting stats by 10 is 20 for 110 levels. Oath of Vengeance from the Grafted Blade Greatsword is another +5 to everything for 150 levels. Then Silver Tear Mask for +8 Arcane, and Commoner's Garb for +1 Faith is 9 more, or 159 level discounts from a total maximum level of 713. That's about 23% of the levels we can take off. In terms of runes though, it's 40% off. As you keep leveling up, levels keep getting more expensive. From level 712 to 713, that final level would require us to get 8,879,348 runes, as opposed to the much more reasonable 4,397,399 runes it would take us to go from level 553 to 554, which is our max level. Look, we're going to be leveling up a lot today, but if you want to level up your programming ability, check out today's sponsor, Boot.dev. Boot.dev is the best way to learn Python and Go programming languages. When it comes to your real-life stats, programming is a great build to get into. According to Stack Overflow, the median salary for back-end developers in the US in 2023 was $100,000 a year. Now that sounds like a good build to me. Also, programmers generally have the option to work remotely or work from home. Imagine getting to earn $100,000 a year without having to leave your house. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme though. You're going to be doing a lot of code and a lot of learning to get a valuable skill to get you a valuable job. Boot.dev knows that the best way for you to learn programming is to do it, getting your hands on the keyboard and doing some programming. That might sound kind of intense, but it's all framed like a fun RPG. And if you like fun, intense RPGs, that makes sense. You're watching an Elden Ring guy. That means you know how satisfying it is to overcome the challenges, learn how the game works, and then, this time, you get a cool job. Click the link in the description to get started today. If you don't have the money to pay for a membership, that's fine. Boot.dev has all of their content available for free to watch and read. Paying for the membership unlocks the fun XP game style of learning and also helps us out a lot over here. Click the link in the description and use offer code TULOK at checkout for 25% off your first purchase of a 1-month or 1-year subscription. subscription. Maybe try out the free stuff first, see if it interests you, and then go for the full year because that's a bigger discount. Again, use offer code TULOK at checkout for 25% off your first purchase with boot.dev and click the link in the description to get started today. Now, let's get back to grinding out some stats. Anyway, we start off warping to the Dragon Barrow, but not for Grail or the Knight's Cavalry. I want to wait till we have the Golden Scarab. Fort Pharoth has a Dectus piece, 7,500 free runes from the Golden Rune 12, and Radagon's Sword Seal. Then I just warp out, throwing 100 runes on the ground. You thought I was frugal, but no, I just waste them. Get some big Somber Stones on the way to the Divine Tower of Caelid, where we get a much bigger starting rune, the Newman Rune.
Hello, Newman.
It's worth quite a bit at lower levels. Currently, this is the lowest level a build can possibly be. There's another Golden 12 down the tower a bit, but we fall incorrectly. At least we can get the shortcut for later. Absolutely juke the Radon soldiers for a second and then die. The first of many, I am sure. It's just under the broken down section, then we can grab the gold pickled Foulfoot from behind the first step to get the most out of our first boss. Not that we're fighting them yet. Instead, let's go to the Weeping Peninsula to get our main weapon for this part of the run. In Castle Morn up the hill, and in a chest, there it is, the Claymore. What's really interesting about the Claymore is it asks the question, what if a sword was very, very good? This part was actually recorded before the all weapons run, which might make sense when you realize, oh yeah, this video's longer. Get that grace for later, then bail out. Behind Redmane Castle, we get something to soup up the weapon that's already cracked, the Flaming Strike Ash of War. It adds flat fire damage to a weapon, so it doesn't matter if we haven't upgraded it yet, and it doesn't matter if we don't have any investment in strength. It's just ready to cook. I am still going to upgrade it a bit for smithing stone ones. If you don't want to fight the Crystallion yet, head through the Stone Digger's Cave. There's plenty of ones in there. You could also do a Morn Tunnel in Weeping Peninsula, but that's further away from other graces. It's also harder to avoid getting killed in my personal opinion. As I watch myself head to Lernia over a month ago on stream, haha, I wrote that part months ago. So several months ago on stream, I wonder, why didn't I eat the runes and start cranking vigor yet? And I'm not sure, but we didn't. And it kind of makes it more exciting, doesn't it? We're grabbing these smithing stones 2 and 3 off the lake until I realize Flaming Strike's a flat fire boost. I'm good to go fight the Clean Rot Knights right now, after buying the Knight set so we don't get routed and have a little more defense. Crank that vigor, let's head into the abandoned cave and fight our first boss, where we forgot to put on Flaming Strike, and thus died.
You fell victim to one of the classic blunders!
Alright, let's try that again with the proper Ash of War. Thanks to Radagon's Sword Seal, we can carry the Claymore despite lacking the strength and dex. With the strength physic tier, the damage becomes ridiculous. Of course, this is against a Caelid enemy. Expect this to fall off later. It doesn't. One boss down, 1,154 to go. Oh no. Now we need more pickles, so let's battle Nerd Juice for access to Patches. Yura doesn't get to help at all. We beat Patches with less than 10 hits. This kinda cooks. At the time, I thought you had to kill Patches to count him as a boss, but it turns out you can complete his questline and then kill him to get all the rewards, like the Bullgoat set. We did that in the All Weapons run, but remember, this stream is from January. We've been working on this video all year. Maybe hit the like button, please. Market time, now that we'll make our maximum amount of money, the Claymore moveset is just so tasty. It's fast, it's heavy, it's got fire, it's got pressure, it's got everything you could ever want. I love this thing, and it's just like a good sword.
Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
More importantly, that gives us a second pocket so we can benefit from the Golden Scarab and Radagon's Sword Seal at the same time. That means we can level up the Claymore with maximum efficiency. It one-shots the Stone Diggers with a charged attack. Damn. And once the Crystallion is broken down, the fight is over. Obviously, spending the runes on stones isn't ideal, but it is faster, and given the choice between running around grabbing stones or just hurrying up and killing another boss later, it's faster. I have a feeling NG+7 is not gonna be the end of our stat requirements, but that's just a theory. Game theory. Now imagine maxing your stats in Fort Height. That's enough to go to the Altus Plateau, then head right for the sealed tunnel for the Bell-Bearing 2. But we'll want this Onyx Lord dead later anyway, so let's just dive in a bit further. Onyx Lord gets torched by the hot Claymore. We kinda don't let him move. It's brutal, but it's fun. Killing Gostock isn't necessary, but it is also fun, so we'll do it anyway. I know I'm throwing away a potential ancient dragon smithing stone, but oh well. Godric the Grafted is our first major test with the upgraded sword, and that damage is looking nice. Imagine dealing fantastic damage while only leveling your vigor. It's more likely than you'd think. Activate Godric's Great Rune, and now we're doing much better in every single stat. It's super nice this early. Something easy for us to cut out, farming pickles. Just know we did it. A lot. We'll also kill more putrid avatars. They're weak to fire. This one drops something to make our fire damage even more fire damage when it already does lots of fire damage. This putrid avatar just drops a lot of runes, and I'm going to try and bum rush the biggest bosses to max out vigor as quickly as possible. We can also kill Grail within 3 minutes. That means we save a pickle, so let's go fast. Keep in mind, this is a Dragon Bearer boss without status effects and no levels put into strength. The sword is plus 13. We get it in less than 3 minutes.
That's a lot of damage.
Radon is weakest to fire. I feel like that's gonna go pretty well. Summon all the pals, ignite the sword, and start swinging. After getting the stance break, dude has 10% of his health for phase 2. How are we doing so good? Let's go talk to Ranni, I guess. I don't know why Past Phil did it like this. If you're fighting all bosses anyway, there's no reason not to do the Tree Sentinel to get into the capital instead of the gargoyles. Oh well. It was a flare-up of my chronic illness. Making a small mistake, sometimes disease. Pray for me, and give me your money on Patreon. It helps. Money is the only thing that helps. Loretta is on water, but our fire just burns hotter. We can save another pickle. There's an Onyx Lord in an Everjail behind the manor. If we go kill it in 3 minutes, that saves the pickle. I won't keep explaining this every time. I got a little lost. That's bad news. Time is so precious. I think this is weaker than the Aldous one. It takes one combo. Definitely worth it. Okay, we did it. Ho ho ho! Very good. Very good. 5,000? That's it? Starting to wonder if beating every boss will be worth it, though we're already 1% of the way through all bosses, and we've only been playing for 2 hours. That means the challenge will just take 200 hours.
That's too much, man.
God, I wish we didn't have to talk to Ranni every time. We can save a little time by killing Radon first. That means we don't have to talk to Blythe. Poor guy. Probably just wants someone to talk to. Into Radon's hole, I'm grabbing some glove ward on the way down, and hey, that will save us time later. We only need to upgrade stuff once. Mimic tier has all the vigor we do. Not ideal. I should have came here first. We pickle too late. If we don't fight a boss soon, the pickle is wasted, so let's get to the bottom. This Dragonkin soldier is a bottom. It hits really hard, and that's okay. We can push forward and die. That didn't save anything. I guess we'll try again and accidentally fall off the cliff. It's okay, we're fine. Now we have the Dragon Halberd, which is a weapon. Wait, not doing that this time. We don't need all the weapons. This is just a dead boss. Light all the torches and run around. They're on the way, then go to the bottom of Noxtella to rescue the Mimic tier. Yeah, I'm rescuing the Mimic tier. It'll make stuff faster. If you don't like it, email support@amazon.com with your complaint. We also get the knife for Ranni and get the statue for later. This is really just autopiloting. I should sprint for the Elden Beast and work backwards. It's what we're gonna do eventually, but for now, Incel Rivermane, I guess? Oh wait, I'm getting all the Ghost Warp for the Mimic. That makes sense. Say hi to Phalanx, Demon's Holes, then go through the Lake of Rot. The more health you have, the easier this is. Kind of. It's mostly percentile damage, so it doesn't even help that much. Since the flasks restore a flat amount of HP, maybe it's worse actually. Something to think about. This did make me realize we didn't have any good flasks, so I grabbed a bunch of Sacred Tears in the Weeping Peninsula. Time waste, but we're going to be running through this game a million times, and those graces will help later. Also realized Hero of Zamor is in the Weeping Peninsula, and it costs a Stone Sword key, gives you less runes than it costs to buy any of the Stone Sword keys.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
So let's skip that for now and hope that we have enough Stone Sword keys in the future from the ground. Astel is our next target for reasons that I had. Big laser, then the tail. We get in and Flaming Strike never fails. Don't get gravity, just keep hitting hits, and eventually we'll get the crits. I don't know why I'm rhyming so much. That's not my goal. Tail stabs are my favorite to punish, another stance break, and that's Dead Bug. We are so close to maximum vigor, which is 84 by the way, for the reasons I explained at the beginning of the video. Go back and watch that if you don't remember why. Should be able to get there if we go to Raya Lucaria, and that takes too long. Actually, if we just eat Astel's whole, we can hit that. By eating Astel's soul, we're at max vigor. Maxing out vigor took us around 3 hours and 15 bosses, so maxing the rest of the stats should be pretty easy. We'll just have to beat 120 bosses, spend about 24 hours. Not that quick, but I'm sure it will be just as smooth getting the other stats. Moving on to Mind. Cool, can't wait to spend hours leveling up a stat to 99 that doesn't get better above like 40? I don't even say that as a spell hater. I'm saying that as someone who loves expensive Ashes of War. But like, just get some blue juice, you know? Why would your mind ever need to go above 40? Hey, Red Wolf of Radagon is hitless. That's cool. Usually I trade a lot, and this 84 Vigor build should definitely be a trading situation. Oh well. Ranni next, she's got a beautiful mind. Strategic, clever, and kind. Let's hit her with a Claymore. In phase 2, we hit her with the clay even more. Doesn't even have time to summon. I'm so glad strength was our first stat. Oh, wait. No, it wasn't. Okay, wait, I see what Streamfill is doing. We're going for Tish because her damage will be better than the Mimic's. Brilliant work from me months ago. Talk to the doll, then body the Baleful Shadow. It has Boster, so we can get stance breaks pretty nice. Then get the Wedding Ring so we can hit the Moonlight Altar eventually. Not right now, because Streamfill is going for Rykard, I guess, by killing Boggart?
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
Whatever, Raya takes us to her mom's house, we get the key, and we're gonna fight the noble. I guess. But not until we get Chilling Mist for a cold infusion. The Godskin kinda resists fire, so magic is gonna be better, especially with status effects that make it do more damage. Claymore gets 104 frostbite buildup before we have applied the mist. What the hell? Is this allowed? No shock, it freezes the noble instantly and puts out sick damage after that. Take the shortcut to get the Stone Sword key, but we're not using it on the fog wall. I need to save them to access bosses. Instead, we go fight Rykard, who uses the unblockable earthquake attack. Cool, we die. Lots of vigor for sure, but with Radagon's Sword Seal, that doesn't really make us that bulky. It's fake confidence. Second try, we win. It's Rykard with the Serpent Hunter. It just kinda happens. Oh, I know what I was doing. We needed enough levels in mind to summon Tish. Great play, me. You're very smart. I'll never question you again. Chilling Mist is also very chill against Electo. She's very weak to Frostbite, though the damage is falling off a bit here. Hers isn't. We got grabbed and blasted and stabbed. Attempt 2 goes better. Focus more on dodging. I really hate Radagon's Sword Seal, though. The extra damage just feels like dookie. It's all good until Electo proves herself to be the long jump champion of the lands between.
Oh my god!
Yeah, really thought I had the spacing better, I guess, but nope. Alright, attempt 3, don't get grabbed, don't get hit with the AoE. Remember that R1s are enough. Patience, dodge, watch that stamina. It's slower this time, but we actually managed to get the win. 2 deaths to Electo, that's not bad. And now we have Tish, unupgraded, and we still lack the mind to summon her. Now we're sprinting to the Elden Beast. That's why I love Stream Me. Draconic Tree Sentinel, it's been a minute since we actually fought this dude. Cold Claymore is messing him up though, tons of stance breaks. Leaning into more stance breaks by waiting for it to end and punishing it with a charged R2, it just works. Currently, it's still worth it to kill the Herb Tree Avatar for our Lord's Rune, 50,000 runes, still does something. Neat. Claymore is so good, I don't even have to see it to beat it. I can beat it without looking at it, and I think you know I love beating it. Get the Ritual Shield Talisman to offset that Radagon Sword Seal a little bit, but I'm really hoping one of these Grave Warden duelists drops their sweet cape. No luck.
Next time, baby.
Then the Gargoyle knocks us off the branch. Bummer. Godfrey Shade with the unupgraded Tish. She gets distracted by the Guardians outside. Not great. I'm just greeting into this dude. Full on press forward. R1. The Claymore is simply built different. Another 3-minute timer. Let's go for Morgoth. We bring in Tish, who is already helping by lowering the boss's max's health until she dies. Get the stance break into phase 2 and then another one pretty quickly right after, before the big win. Pickles saved. Never waste food. Google Morgoth and Godfrey sharing one pickle on your work computer to find out more. For Biden lands, I notice every time I do one of these bananas long ones, I get comments that are like, oh, I hope this goes better than when I tried it. Why are you trying it? We get paid to make these videos. You're just doing labor for no reason. It's another example of people being perfectly willing to work without pay, so a universal social safety net wouldn't stop productivity. Mountaintops of the Giants gives us the Bell Bearing 3, which will make our Claymore hit even harder than it already does with no stat investment. God, I love this thing. Ancient Dragonstone in the big skull, but we can't actually use that until the Godskins are dead, so let's go kill them. Have to kill the Fire Giant first, and for whatever reason, I don't want to use Flaming Strike on Fire Giant, because status effects like Frostbite are just so good against him. Dude has bananas high resistances. We still Frostbite him twice in phase 1, then again in phase 2. You can tell because when he's frostbitten, he looks really ashy. Take care of your skin, gamers. It's the largest organ on your body. Google Fire Giant's largest organ on your work computer to find out more. Faramazula, we summon Bernie for the Godskin duo, and we leave the Frostbite on. No crit for Chunky, and hey, what if we summon Tish? Hey, what if we got hit with the rollout? That's a bad idea. 2 charged attacks break the stance of the Skinny with Bernie out here. He must have hit them. There's just no way that the Claymore does that on its own, right? Maxed out Claymore. Big swag jump, bird run, grab the ancient somber stone. Not that we're gonna need it because we're using a Claymore.
I love you, bitch.
Oh my god.
I ain't gonna never stop loving you. bitch.
I'm just gonna ignore Tree Sentinel and head right for Malekith, coat the sword in frost, and whiff every attack on Malekith's stupid triangle body. Frostbite hits pretty fast once we actually get it, but then we get hit with a stray on the flip, so we just die. Our defenses are ass. Try again, get the Frostbite faster, get our hits faster, and don't take the stance break bait. Get the charged attack when he comes out of the stance break. Still get hit way too much in phase 2, but eventually we get the stance break because we saved that extra pressure and the win. Gideon next, we just bring in Tish to make it go faster, and it did. Put a timer on Godfrey, but Gideon's yapping old ass is just gonna hold us back a little bit. Switch to fire for maximum raw damage. Godfrey has very high frostbite resistance. Help, step Tish, I got stuck in the floor. Whiff another crit at the beginning of phase 2, and then we lose the pickle. Bummer. Wait. 3-minute Radagon in the Elden Beast. We'll save this pickle. What, like it's gonna be hard to beat a 2-phase boss with the most health in the game? That's easy.
It's not that hard, Scott. Tell him, Wash.
It's incredibly hard.
Blessings. Radagon is weak to fire, like really weak to fire, like holy shit. Is he even gonna get to do the Hammer Slammer? Oh. Yeah, that didn't work. Ran out of stamina. Stamina's at 20, so that's not great. Anyway, Flaming Strike is cracked against this dude. Even against the Elden Beast on the water, who gets 10% more fire defense, it's still pretty good. Can you even imagine how miserable the Tarnished has to be after this fight? Socks are soaked. Interrupt the Elden Stars with the Stance Break. We almost get to skip the rings, but it gets them off just in time. I dodge the Elden Flurry without getting hit. I am my own commander, so Flawless Maneuver is free to cast. And we've beaten the boss with the most runes in the game. Bad news though. That actually would have saved the pickle. It was that fast. In fact, from the start of the Gideon fight to the end of the Elden Beast with the death, it took 7 minutes. How crazy is that? We have not invested in any stats for damage. I keep saying it, but what? Next high-level bosses are in the Snowfield, so let's open up the Castle Soul and absolutely delete the first of Niall's Knights, then struggle a lot with the second one. But Tish and I melt the commander's health when we get him alone. Kill the old man and we are in the Snowfield, baby. Actually, let's kill the stray Mimic here first so we can get the Silver Scarab late. It's a Mimic. It's so free. Putrid Avatar is actually even more free with Flaming Strike. Oh my god. The Penguin Noble puts up a bit of a fight, but not much. I just kind of walk back and forth until he doesn't dodge my R1s. We're in Mogwin Palace. More like Moog, when will you join the Patreon for more exclusive videos? Somber 10 again for free, we don't need it. Moog is getting the Chilling Mist, dude needs a cold shower. Or more accurately, the world would benefit from him taking a cold shower. Can't enter the DLC yet, but that's fine, I want to be max level for it anyway. Oh, by the way, this is the build that we'll be playing through the DLC with first. So glad it comes out in June, so I have time to finish this. God, I hope I finish this. I'm writing this section on March 4th. Recording it on April 24th. For a stream from January. Seems bad. Skip the liturgical town, skip the Halleck tree, watch the swag jump, and open the shortcut for Loretta. Of course, there has to be an elevator here. How else do you think the horse got here? Tish instantly takes off the top 10% of her HP, and then we melt down the other 90% together. Super easy. Melania is usually a DPS test. Our DPS has been good, but we don't have any tools to stunlock her. Our defense is pretty shit, and we haven't upgraded our strength yet. I'm nervous. Tish is a huge help, gutting health off the top and keeping that pressure up. She really doesn't leave this poor girl alone, but bobs and weaves enough that she isn't taking a crack back. We push her into the corner and just fully bully her. It's working great. Another stance break. We don't crit, so the pressure will be there for phase 2, but 86 vigor doesn't matter if Radagon's Sword Seal is just gonna make you die to the ducky dance. Let's try that again. Tish starts with a sniper shot. How does it go that far? Then we both dive in. Tish takes the ducky. I hot swap in the physical defense talisman over the ritual shield. It's much better with this fight. So many of Melania's moves are combos. Another stance break right before phase 2. Don't get the crit and wait for the R2. Flaming Strike is ripping through this HP. The damage isn't an issue, at least not on our end. She doesn't even get a second onion. We just fully bully here.
Because here at Globo Gym, we're better than you. And we know it.
Placiduous Axe has a lot of runes. Let's kill him with Tish and the Flaming Strike. Big HP means percentiles are better, but also sometimes the Fire Breath stun locks you into getting hit by the Fire Breath again and again until you die. I mean, it's not like it takes a long time and then sometimes you fall down wrong on the way back. Twice.
Needs a staircase. or a ladder.
Seriously, you know why I didn't fight Placidusax on my first playthrough? It didn't occur to me to scour the ledges of cliffs above a bottomless pit, 180 my camera around to see a 2-foot square I could safely land on, and then drop down. I thought we were done with this kind of run back from Soft, but old habits die hard. Do old dragons die hard, though? Kinda. This is the first boss we have a damage issue against, which is fair, because dude has a lot of health. Some people like to defend this health bar, but why? Is it fun to just hack away at an ass for 6 minutes to you? It's not even a good looking ass, but that will give us enough runes to hit max mind. And only 20 bosses for this section. Makes sense that it's a little more, a 1/3 increase, so let's adjust the calculations. That means we'll probably have to kill around 508 bosses? That seems much more likely. So a couple more NG cycles, unless, I don't know, the amount of bosses is going to accelerate, meaning increasing the amount it increases each time. Then this could be a long haul. Let's clean up with the big bosses first. Black Blade Kindred in the Dragon Barrow. We put a heavy affinity on the Claymore since it's weakest to standard damage. But I hate what the Braggart's Roar does to my charged attack.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Stance pressure's still good, so we win. That was not enough runes for a single level. Uh-oh, we're entering the bad place. But the biggest bounty in the Dragon Barrow is still available. The Godskin Apostle at the bottom of the Divine Tower. We're hitting it with Chilling Mist for extra frostbite damage, and yeah, it rips. Hey, Godslayer Greatsword. Maybe we'll use that when we have some faith 100 years from now. Still haven't dropped the Knight's Cavalry, but we actually fight it this time.
I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
Then try to sprint down to fight the Beastmen with the same pickle. Easy peasy, pickle squeezy. Running a zone defense here, Hughes is just in the area. He doesn't have a lot of runes. Bummer. Oh, hey, still gotta kill that sleepy dragon. That's worth a lot. Black Flame Tornado is the fastest tool in my opinion. Then sprint down to the Celia Hideaway to get another boss with the same pickle. Maybe. First challenge, navigating a cave with a timer. We'll just come back for them later. I count them as a Caelid boss. Forgot the Bell-Bearing Hunter. That was before we did our Bell-Bearing Hunter run, so I didn't have practice that I would have later. Just another reminder, this video has been in the works all year. Maybe watch it again tomorrow, please. Second try win. Pay 2 mana and we can enter the War Dead Catacombs. We're taking on the Putrid Tree Spear with some extra fire damage because that should shred this tree. It does. Wow, 25 years of Pokemon playing pays off. Theodorix stunlocks us in the magma, then does it again, but pins us in a corner this time. Very fun, very good boss. Love this one for sure. Big brain move, let's go into the Forlorn Cave first. Then we'll be able to warp out with our pickle available to use it on Theo too. As long as pickles work through a time warp. I'm sure warping doesn't turn them off. Misbegotten Crusader gets gotten. Moment of truth.
Where are you?
I'm giving up on that for now. We need more pickles. Now, we'll fight Theo the proper way, with Octopi. They kinda just wanna fight Tish, okay, but at least Theo is looking at them while we spam charged attacks. That'll break him down absurdly fast, then tragedy nearly strikes, as the octopus tries to attack me while eating the pickle, but we made it. Now we're at the point where we just have to hang out with 120,000 runes in our pocket, ready to get wasted if we die without collecting them. No pressure. We will be going for the Deathrite Bird next, but after the Erd Tree Avatar in Lernia. The Holy Shroud and Cracked tier is basically gonna be a necessity. Hopefully this big mortar dog in the consecrated Snowfield doesn't blow us up. It doesn't. We living, thank God. But you can also die cleaning the toes if you're not careful. We are careful. Might as well get another big remembrance, I guess. We swap out all of our blue flasks because, I mean, look at that blue bar. That's a big blue bar. Then just fire Sacred Blade at the head. You know what the best holy weapon in Elden Ring is? Claymore. You know what the best fire weapon is? Claymore. You know what the best cold weapon is? Claymore. 2 levels from that one, though we did have 120,000 extra runes from Theo, so kinda did some rounding. Knight's Cavalry next. I just stick with the Holy Sword and remember how much I hate this fight. First one goes all right, second one won't stop killing my horse, so we return the favor. Yellow Anus Ruins and Astel, I leave the Blade Beam on to fire at the head. It's nice to have ranged options for Astel. I always get lost on the way to the Consecrated Snowfield Catacombs, then I get lost inside the Consecrated Snowfield Catacombs as well because it's a garbage dungeon. At least we'll get to to practice it so many times this run. We make it back to the Grace with 0 flasks, way too close. Losing runes deep in a catacomb like this is super bad because you have to run back to go get them. Putrid Grave Warden Duelist just gets washed, absolutely bodied. That's it for the Snowfield. We'll hit a Doula next. I'm counting the Moonlight Altar as a separate area from Lernia. Also, there's only one other boss there. So we killed it, area cleared. Blow up the Deathbird in the Mountaintops of the Giants, then set a timer to get to the Erdtree Avatar. I take the time to get Flaming Strike at the Grace, it pays off. Same idea with Borealis and Vike. Part of me wanted to try and hat trick Borealis on the last one, but it didn't happen. So Vike, he dies, and we save the pickle. We'll do less annoying Spirit Caller Cave before the other Mountaintops dungeons, because oh my god, I don't want to do those, but we will at least 7 times each. Godskin, boo! No status effects. I forgot to get something other than fire on the sword, but it's only a 40% resistance, not the end of the world. This video's taking so long, I'm worried that joke will be in poor taste, like the heat death of the universe happened and someone will watch this video 5 days later like, too soon, my guy. Giant Mountaintops Catacombs is probably my least favorite. I should do a ranking of the catacombs later in the video when I'm just desperate for narration. This one's overganked with imps, but also does the gaslight thing that the Lindell catacombs do. It's the worst of both worlds, like Miley Cyrus's Wario, Wally Wirus. Then we die and lose a bunch of runes, but I'm gonna say fudge it, and we won't go get them. At least the boss is cool and unique. The ulcerated tree spirit. Wild that this is the only one in the game. It's weak to fire, so we burn it. Very cool. This dungeon took 15 minutes, and it's not even enough runes to level up once, which means we have to go beat another boss safely without dying to level up. No pressure. At the Giant Conquering Hero's grave, it's not bad. It's kind of fun to bait the giant and smack its taint. Wait, I don't think we can show that on YouTube. Corey, censor that. Alright, Hero of Zamor. This one is just like the one in Altus, with the difference that, I don't know what the difference is. More health and damage, probably. They'll probably be on a poll soon. If you want to vote for them, go to the Patreon. They've actually been on a poll. I wrote this a long time ago. They lost. Time for the Sewer, which honestly isn't as bad as some of these catacombs. I do wish there were some more graces. At least we have the endurance to wear Lionel's set for some more defense at this point. Get Moog's Shackle before the Lindell catacombs, then don't use Moog's Shackle for the catacombs, because I forgot that I just picked it up. Whoops. At least I know the layout of this one a little better, so we can get Eskar bodied and his little dogs too. I've heard of Eskar go. When are we gonna make Eskar go fuck himself? Sewer Moog with that heavy claymore, and then Braggart's Roar. I won't use the Charge Dart 2 because I didn't like it at this point. This was before the Grave Warden Duelist run taught me the great, beautiful thing that is a running R2. I'm just gonna hit him a lot. Tish is too, and despite him having status immunity, Deathflame doesn't count as a status, so he's just dead. I'm clearing out this bottom zone so that the dancers just can't hide. And by dancers, I mean Valiant Gargoyles, which I thought we had already fought, but apparently I was wrong. So let's bring Tish out. And Roar? Why? I guess we'll just be using the jump attacks instead of the charging charged attack. Get poisoned? Not great, but we have plenty of HP. It's no big deal. Deep Root unlocked. Get those ants and feel a lot better about our rune arc situation. Like a lot better. Siluria with that hot claymore. I really wish we could use the tree spear. It's super fun, but we need faith for that, so that's a bummer. Stat requirements are another reason we're just rocking the claymore. You don't need much to make it happen. Fia's champs quickly, and we save our pickle. This claymore goes through them like a hot knife through butter. It literally is a hot knife. It's like an ultra great knife. Carrion Study Hall, better than Carrion a Manor, I suppose. Run all around, get the Curse Mark of Death, and we are able to bring that back to Fia to fight Fortisax. We're even dressed as her #1 fan. Oh. God, did we let her know we're not Lionel? This feels a little awkward. Thank God it's just a hug. Bring in Tish, avoid the fire and the vape, but we almost get fully vape. Tish is basically soloing the fight for us. She is much better at hitting than we are. I don't think she gets hit by auto lightning like we do by the toes. The biggest boon is just taking 10% off the top of every boss's health. Thank you, Tish. Next, I guess we'll clear the 4 Biden lands with the Blackblade Kindred. It's not a unique boss. It's almost exactly the same as the one in Dragon Barrel, but at least it's a little better on global warming. So you have to love this Kindred, or you love the one in the Dragon Barrow. Of course, there's a cop in the 4 Biden lands. Dude's the worst. Second worst, I guess, but still a bummer. I love playing Elden Ring, over leveling, Claymore with fire,
And those twins.
Fell Twins are dead. It's one we would forget, honestly. Regal Cinema Spirit, I suppose. It's another remembrance and not a lot of runes. This is the cleanup era, since the only bosses worth any amount of runes are in the Mountaintops or beyond. Once we get through all 7 NG+ cycles, we will just do Mountaintops and beyond. I know I'm joking that I think that we'll get to max level quickly. No, I know that we're not. It's gonna be really bad. We've done one moose, yes, but what about a second moose? I'll save you the time of us running around to light the torches. Moose 2 is less moose than Moose 1. Sequels are always disappointing, but I need something dirty for the next boss, because it's number 69. No, it isn't, Phil. You forgot to count several of the bosses on the script, and Corey, thank God, is not keeping a live boss count on the screen, because that would make this all a nightmare. We're getting casual today, gamers, because this is a long one. Anyway, the Dragonkin soldier in the Lake of Rot is pretty dirty, but he's wearing protection with a fanny pack that makes him invincible. We don't die though, and that's number 69, everyone. More running to get to the next boss, but we'll skip that. Not the boss, the run. Maybe the boss, it's just the Dragonkin soldier of Noxtella, which is pretty different than the Rot Lake one. This one has ice lightning. He was immune to Black Knife health debuff. Why? What? Big brain move for Caelid fight Exicus, then go get the aggro of the Knights Cavalry so we can fight them both at the same time to save the pickle. It's gonna work great. Not working super great. Tish got despawned. It's gonna work good enough. Exicus teleported away. Okay, it's gonna work okay? Knights Cavalry time. We'll bring it as close to Exicus as we can, but then he teleports back. He gets stuck, we kill the horse, and then he won't stop falling? Okay, so he is trying to teleport back to his starting position, but the horse isn't there to catch him until he can summon the horse back. So he just keeps falling forever, and we can't deal damage to him because he has iframes as he falls.
I have been falling for 30 minutes!
Highlight of the run? Probably not. Something jankier will surely happen when we play for like a million hours. Grail dies. Pickle. Let's get that hat trick. 3 bosses, 1 pickle. I'm just hitting the run button. We're not trying any cheese. I'm even staying on my feet to let the cavalry come to me. Easy. Got that one. But can we also add the Deathrite Bird for boss number 3? Yes. Sacred Blade does amazing damage to the head, and we get the hat trick, saving our pickle across 3 bosses. But can we add O'Neill to the same pickle? No. Right? Yeah, it wears off. Maybe if we were two-handing the Claymore, but the two-handing came off when we switched back to Flaming Strike. Should have caught that, should have realized that. I'm throwing for content. I'm so sorry. But we can turn him into a double pickle by fighting the Nox duo in the town of Horsery. It's easy. They're basic enemies with a health bar.
And look at you, you haven't even got a name tag. You've got no chance.
We can do the first bits of the Millicent crest while we're here. Her prosthesis talisman is a +5 to dex with upside. So that's for sure going to be one of the +5 talismans we use. I haven't totally decided what the other one will be at this point, but they don't have one for Vigor, Mind, or Endurance, so I haven't had to yet. We get rotted by the Putrid Crystallian trio, but still do fine. Tish fixes it. More Caelid cleanup. The Caelid Catacombs has a cemetery shade that's the exact same as the one in the Weeping Peninsula, just with a bit more health and damage. Like 2 more health. This thing's frail as shit. Back at Radahn's house, we can fight the Mascot, Gotten Warrior, and the Crucible Knight. Seriously, Redmane Lions? This Misbegotten is 100% their mascot. I don't know why the Crucible Knight's here, but Radahn would love it. That's one of Godfrey's guys. Pumpkin heads, one of them plants a flag. I don't know why. Does that do anything? I guess it lets me know that they respect the flag in Caelid, and it also means that Caelid couldn't be improved in any way. Sorry you can't breathe the air, Snowflake. We're real Caelid patriots. Time for the Gale Cave. This is a tribute to comic writer Gail Simone, y'all. That's why it's pronounced that way. Try to learn something. Magma Worm is just like the one in Fort Lade, but this one's in a smaller room. We wasted a pickle, bummer. Unless we beat the Tibia Mariner. Oh, we did. That's 200 extra runes, baby. Ooh, the big money. Maybe not every boss needs a pickle. I think we're gonna stop pickling in bosses that aren't worth the runes of a Mountaintops boss. Guardian Golems dies, no pickle. We just get the Blue Dancer charm. Gay Old Cave is a reference to the Flintstones. We'll have a gay old time. Everyone in this cave is gay, and good for them. Even the frenzied duelist. He wants to fight. This isn't hateful, it's sporting. Do I remember how to do the Erdtree burial, the the catacombs in the minor Erdtree in the Caelid, in the one by the tree? No, I don't remember how to do it. I don't even remember the name. But the boss is an Erdtree watchdog duo that tries to stunlock me. Hate that. Sorry if it seems like I'm being negative, but like, this is a journey, right? Should be trials and tribulations to keep things exciting. I don't know where the Celia tunnel is, so we just warp there through Limgrave and body the Falling Star Beast. Beat him with a pullout game from the Crackblade Ash of War. Literally a deadly pullout game.
On the pullout game.
Let's take a trip to get 40 levels in 2 minutes. How's that possible? Through the power of synergy. We beat the Leonine Misbegotten in Castle Morn for the Grafted Blade Greatsword, which will give us a +5 to every stat temporarily, saving 40 levels in the long run, which is pretty major at the end. Hey, while we're here, let's kill the Knight's Cavalry and the Deathbird. One shot from our Claymore, which we haven't invested in any stats for yet. I know it is a Weeping Peninsula boss, but come on. Erdtree Avatar, I forgot to swap to the Fire Infusion. It doesn't matter. Tombs warded catacombs. I guess I paid the 2 mana, because we got in just fine. Then we blast the cemetery Shade with 1 Sacred Blade. Bars. Hero of Zamor drops a worse version of Radigan's Source Seal. Thanks. Miranda is even easier in this game than she is in Mass Effect. Seriously, you have to actively try not to hook up with her. The game shoves her at you, and I don't like it. You know what they say, save the worst for last, so Impaler's Catacombs, I hardly know her, Catacombs. Then fight the Gank Burial Watchdog and get something. I honestly don't remember what it drops. You know what they say, save the one you forgot about for last. It's the Rune Bear. It's a Rune Bear. And I'm feeling pretty good after we cleared all the Weeping Peninsula in about 20 minutes. So if we do that 7 times, that means we only spent 140 minutes in the Weeping Peninsula. That's not great, but it's not terrible. Altus and Gelmnir next. On the way, we killed Gilka. She's still alive? I mean, now she isn't. Shaded Castle is in a valley, so like, I'm sure it is shaded. We beat up Malay outside. He drops the Anspur Rapier. I'll be honest, percentile damage is going to be our friend later, so will the Millicent prosthesis. But first, we need the Valkyrie prosthesis. Hey, while we're here, might as well beat up Elmer of the Fud. He's so full of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Trust me, Elmer, invest in a bell-bearing coin. It's a crypto joke. Tibia Mariner with the holy weapon really is the hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby. Can I be honest? I didn't get that meme the first time I saw it. I overcomplicated it in my head, thinking it was counting the death toll of weapons of mass destruction versus the death totals of disease. No, it's way simpler. Just bombs could kill a baby that's sick really easy. Another Erdtree watchdog. What a treat. Hey, if you think we're yadaing now, wait till NG+7. And if you don't like it, Cope and Seethe Water Cave, where we fall to our death. Whoops. Then we make it down and beat down the Kindreds of Rot. And shit, we should really go pick up those runes, huh? Okay. We're still at a 5-to-1 boss to death ratio. Really good. Riding up to Gelmnir, we get the Magma Worm, and if it just keeps stomping, it can win this. That move is so hard to punish, stun locking sucks. Today, it stopped doing it. Thank God. Boss number 100 is the demi-human Queen Maggie, and we died. Oof. Ganks don't mess around. Always respect a gank. We died twice. Respect a gank twice. That ruins our ratio and means that demi-human Queen Maggie killed us more than Melania did. Gelmnir Hero's Grave stuff like this is gonna be the real time killer, not the boss fights, the long ass dungeons. Maybe next playthrough I should grab Raptor of the Mist for this shit. We're already quick stepping down the lava with swagger to skip the puzzle, which might not even be faster, but we'd have to get the puzzle to work on the first try, and dropping down on the chariot is janky as all hell. The boss down here is a red wolf. It has no health. Bye. Big snake eater ladders. If you come to the stream, I sing snake eater every time we climb these. Might be fun. Funner than the volcano cave. You just walk to the bottom and hit Margot a few times. I've heard of demi-human Queen Margot. I'm trying to figure out how we can make demi-human Queen
Go to the polls.
Damn, Democratic Party really saw a dude who was impossible to lose to and said, challenge accepted. Speaking of bosses who are impossible to lose to, the fully grown Falling Star Beast. I call him the full-grown Falling Star Beast, but I spelled it differently to show that I'm exasperated. That one kind of works better in text. For some reason, the worm face is already on the ground? Why? Don't be here. Be somewhere else. I have an ulcerated tree spirit to fight, and I don't want you bothering me. It didn't bother me. We're just that fast. Mount Gelmnir, more like Mount Done here. Let's wipe out the rest of Altus now. First a Knight's Cavalry, ultimate technique. Get on your horse and kind of mash into it. it. 3 falling star beasts in the last hour. I think this is actually the lowest scaled one. Maybe it's either this one or Caelid, but it's simple enough either way. They're not actually weak to strike damage, they're weakest to elemental attacks. Weird. Really seems like hammers would break rocks the best. Whatever. We could reset and fight the tree sentinels one at a time. It would be safer.
Let's get dangerous.
It's faster to just fight them both. With Tish here, it's not even that bad, despite sometimes the camera trying to be a secret third boss in this fight. Hey, where did the merchant go? It's a bell-bearing hunter. Apparently these are all Elimer, so like, how is it still alive? Didn't we kill you? It fades out like an illusion, but if you kill Morgoth, his illusion's gone from Stormveil, so what's going on there? Right nearby, the Deathbird gets blasted by Sacred Blade. It's pretty much Deathrite Serpent Hunter. Godfroy the Grafter boy. Altus sure is a place with a ton of bosses that are just bosses from somewhere else. But again, Sage's Cave is a 2-for-1 special. Calibrate this Garrus and get assassinated. Assassin?
Where did he go? That invisible.
If that's gonna be stuck in your head today, drink plenty of water, stretch your back. Freakazoid turns 30 next year. I was a little worried I'd forget to do the Abductor Virgins, so let's fall down and get them. By the way, Abductor Virgins is another pun because they abduct people, but also the hips are the abductor muscles, and that's where the weapons are. They're on a hip joint. Speaking of hip joints, the unsightly catacombs. It's not a hip joint. It's not hip, it's terrible. But at least we get through all the super ganks we can, fighting the Perfumer and Misbegotten next. I think they finished the dungeon and forgot to put a boss here until like 3 days before the game came out, so they just tossed them in here. I don't like this next boss, but I do like his name. It's Wormface. Fun fact, the Wormface bosses are actually related to the Mountaintops of the Giants, I think. Well, they may be giants. 1 Crystallion is a boss, but 2 Crystallions is also 1 boss. Inflation is a bitch in Altus. I would guess it's got the highest rents. Time for 2 more bosses that are just sorta guys that got put in a room together, or a guy and a gal. I don't know the Omen Killer's gender, actually. All I know is they both died. 2 Godskins are 1 boss, but 1 Godskin is also 1 boss. The value of the rune has now crashed. You shoulda bought crypto. Millicent dies since she gives us the prosthesis for +5 to Dex with upside. We have to take 1 +5 talisman for our stats. Might as well take the only one that has upside. Black Knife Assassin drops the Black Knife. That might be a great option for later since it does percentile damage. Then it's Lanciax, this dragon hooked up with Vike, and personally, I think she can do better, and so can Vike. They both can. Sainted Hero's Grave isn't all that bad, but it is long. Again, that's gonna kill the run, not the deaths, just time. In a way, time is responsible for all death.
Kids, could you lighten up a little?
On a positive note, we get to fight the hero of Zamor. They're pretty cool, until this one dies really fast. Have we really not invested in the damage yet? Kind of feels like we're doing all right. Ariza's side tomb is in contention for my least favorite in the game. Nothing quite captures the feeling of, wait, where the hell am I, that the Ariza side tomb does. Eventually, I'm just wandering through the hallways full of corpses that I've killed an hour ago, wondering when it will be my own corpse that I discover. Finally find the right room, pull the lever, then warp back. Maybe I should be paying attention to how this works since I'm gonna do it 6 more times. But meh. Grave Ward and Duelist gets dueled. I remember to get the Margit Shackle earlier so we can blow up the chariots in the Ariza hero's grave, then fight the Crucible duo. God, even finding time to bring a buddy in is a little rough, but then it's free. I'm actually quite practiced against these two for some reason. Even after all this time, this cave still hasn't dried up. It's still water, and the boss is still Cleanrot Knight in Lernia, toasted. All of the caves in Lernia are lakeside, but this one is also crystal. So are several others. Lakeside Crystal Cave, bad name, bad boss. It's another Bloodhound Knight. Untiss, untiss, untiss. Deathbird just takes 2 more Sacred Blade beams. It really is the perfect Deathbird tool. It's also the perfect Knight's Cavalry tool. Maybe that's the Claymore, actually. Seriously, why is this thing so good? Let's get the Death Right Bird now, totally different than the Deathbird.
I don't believe you.
Then another Knight's Cavalry, but this one is North. Seriously, if these two count as different bosses, I see no reason that Godfrey and NG1 and Godfrey and NG2 don't count as different bosses. Nothing's gonna kill us, certainly not a bell-bearing hunter. That would be embarrassing. That wasn't foreshadowing. We really won. I'll leave Sacred Blade on for Smaragd. It should hit the head well. It doesn't. We gotta chase it a little. Bummer. Now, 1 Crystallion is 1 boss, but 2 Crystallions is also 1 boss. I'm reusing a joke, but FromSoft reused bosses, and their budget had millions of dollars. I am simply a little guy doing my best. Just like the Omen Killer. We kill him before we kill his dogs. Is that crueler or less cruel? You decide. We'll hit Taco Bell fries next to warp back to the Chapel of Anticipation and beat the grafted Scion. Would have been faster to beat him at the beginning, but I'm not very good at this game.
Oh my god! He made it!
Most bosses are special, but this one is just, Dan? Okay. Hey, Dan. Weird armor you picked out. And a flail. Really feels like someone hit random too many times until the Monster Factory character showed up. Cuck whoever jail, let's crush the bowls. Google Cuck crushing bowls on your work computer to find out more. Hey, it's another Tibia Mariner. I guess. Holy damage makes it faster than fast. Extra fast. Cliff Bottom Catacombs isn't at the top of my list for favorite dungeons, but it's not at the bottom. It's kind of fun to shoot the arrows at the omens in the basement. It's just an Erdtree dog in a basement. One of the staff ones. This Erdtree avatar drops the best physic tier in the game, the Ruptured Physic tier, but we won't use it. It would be too strong. The Road's End Catacombs is not even close to the end of the run, and this boss is a snail that summons a Crucible Knight. Really think Miyazaki's doing some improv with these. Black Knife Catacombs has 2 bosses, a Black Knife Assassin, that's easy, and a Cemetery Shade, which is easier. To be fair, if you come here low level, this is one of the worst catacombs to deal with in the game. But with 99 vigor, it ain't all that bad. Sorry I've been so negative. Let's go to the Rune-strewn Oedipus, my favorite motherfucking level in the game. We're far enough in the video that we're allowed to swear. By the way, for those who miss what the joke is there, it's a reference to how cool this level is. It's a catacomb, but backwards and outside, so you can see how high you're getting. The Makar arena is really cool, and Makar is cool. The first time you fight him, probably less cool on following playthroughs. It definitely left school. I don't know why I said probably. I know he's less cool on following playthroughs, but the first time I fought this dude, this was sick. Did you know you can kill the Royal Revenant by hitting it with damage? Tree Sentinel is one of the last bosses in the game if you're playing smart. Coastal Elite Cave, these demi-humans don't care about good Midwestern tarnish. Ag heals? He should have healed because he died. I dig the Stone Digger Tunnel. It's got smithing stones. The boss is big and scary when you're low level. Nice tunnel. I don't like Crucible Knights. I prefer Crucible Knights, but that's just me. Despicable me. Bell-bearing Hunter gets bashed, followed by a Deathrite bird right next door. Wait, just a death bird. These puns might be cringe to you, but hey, what do you want? I'm one of the cringe folk after all. In the cringe folk hero's grave with the tree spirit. It's not just highly rated, it's ulcer rated. The Stormfoot Catacombs were my first catacomb, and the Erdtree Burial Watchdog was my first boss in Elden Ring. I didn't even realize that the Groveside Cave was here until I did all bosses the first time. RIP to the Beast Man. Death Touch Catacombs has a Black Knife Assassin that has the right idea and starts the fight with less health.
Why don't you just fall down?
Selen sells spells. Gotta save her for like 10 rounds from now when we have intelligence. Final boss of the run is Soldier of God, Rick. He's the strongest boss in the game, so we use the strongest attack. Ruptured Physic tier, go. That's enough to bring our endurance up to 38. Oh God. That's 176 levels in the first NG cycle, a decent start, more than a quarter of the way through if we're just looking at levels. By the way, if you think I missed a boss here or there during the run,
Welcome to hell. Who gives a shit? Free your hell.
normally I struggle with the grafted Scion at the start of the run, but that's just because I'm a trading boy. An importer-exporter, if you will. And without the big health and flasks, trading is hard. But in NG+, grafted Scion is pretty free. What happens when you beat him here? Is there like a bridge that leads to Limgrave or something?
Watch out for that first step, it's a doozy!
So why not kill the Tree Sentinel on the way through Limgrave? Because Daddy wants stats. Daddy wants stats that actually do things, and not just a million little babies that give me as much experience as beating a baby to death would. Not very much. We do have to grab the Stone Sword Key every time, those are pretty valuable, but then we had to do some pickle farming, and I'll be real, we can't pickle for every boss. It's simply too much. There isn't actually a limit to how many NG+ cycles you can do, and I would rather just keep pushing further into the infinite than running over to Caelid and farming over 1,000 pickles. Market time, still no damage investment, still doesn't matter. I wonder, can we get to Godric in 3 minutes and save the pickle? Danger Path would be the fastest way. We stop at the Grace just for safety, then get aggressive. Real aggressive, and the pickle wears off at the start of phase 2.
Am I not supposed to have what I want?
Here's what we need right now. Godric's Great Room, because it's a great room, and that's in the name. It's great. If it's starting to look like I'm changing my shirt a lot in the corner, it's because I am. This run was basically done whenever we had time after other runs. This section was after the Selen run. Think about that. Think about when that video went up, and when this video went up. Yeah, Smarag is dead. The key for Raya Lucaria is right behind him. Let's go clear that out for more money. Dog is still easy, though I will say I'm noticing the increase in health these bosses are getting. Everything feels a little spongy. Still not bad. We one-cycle Renala in phase 1, then hit phase 2 with some super fast stance breaks from the very cool thrust of the Claymore. Since we're clearing all 165 bosses again, might as well go up to Altus through the ruin-strewn Oedipus again, right? I am so sorry, Fort Height enthusiast. That means that everyone's favorite fort is done for this video. I know you were expecting to see 7 Fort Heights, but it's just not in the cards. I'm so sorry.
But you can't do this to me.
Magma Worm might not seem like a threat. Those floor hitboxes can stun lock you. They didn't this time, but they could have. Welcome to Altus, baby. Fighting Lanciax here just makes her run away, so we're skipping that. I guess we're gonna do the Tree Sentinel duo though, for some reason. They were kinda on the way. Hey, they also kill us, and that's the first death in a very long time. I am so curious to how the stats are gonna look on this one. It's probably gonna end up with great average boss time, a low death to boss ratio. Currently it's at about 12%. That's wild. We've had 2 Tree Sentinels, but what about a third? Actually, we've had 6 Tree Sentinels. How about a 7th or a Severalith? Shout out to Jelinski, Survivor Legend. We're already in Altus, and I guess we'll clear the Erdtree avatar for the Lord's Rune. Probably not going to do this every time, but I am desperate for money in the game and in real life. Hell, join the Patreon. I have so many student loans. Yep, I know Brandon canceled the federal ones, but I had a lot more private ones. So, you know, that's a dent. That's a drop in the bucket. That's a big, big bucket. It's wild how fast we're fighting the Godfrey Shade already. This is going to be a speed run if we make it past NG+7 and still need runes. At this point, none of the bosses will be new anymore, so we'll just go right to the end game, probably clear out overworld bosses in Mountaintops and Snowfield, but skip everything else. Never skip Morgoth. How could you? He's so cool. His boss theme rips, and he drops a lot of runes. Hey, that Lord's Rune from earlier pays off. We needed it to round off a level. My brain is massive, and my heart is pure. Forbidden Lands going through New Game Plus can make you feel like you're doing a defeatist exercise, like nothing you do ever actually changes anything, and you're cursed to be powerless against a system that will only rebuild itself, more insulated and more impenetrable to the common person every time. Also, we fought the Blackblade Kindred. He was on the way, so is Borealis, so we won't ignore Realis. Tish and our fire attacks shred him. It's so fast, he drops a lot of runes. Fudge it, let's get Vike 2. We can probably save the pickle from Ignorealis, as long as his pokey stick doesn't poke us out. That's enough for 2 whole levels at this point. Wow, inflation is brutal. Fire Giant? Why? He's doing a great job guarding the forge. We're chilling misting him, and Tish melts him with the blade beams again. She is such an asset, even in these later runs. Burn down the Erdtree, let's do Farah Missoula. Against the Godskin duo, it's becoming abundantly clear that you can blast through this game to get to the end game pretty fast if you don't have to spend a lot of time building up. And they're not even that much harder in NG+, especially using percentile damage tech like Frostbite and Tish. Malekith can still be dangerous in phase 2. He's way too fast, and his hurt box is trash. He also gets percentile damage that messes up our big ol' health bar, but we're still rocking the Claymore, so we're still good. I was wondering, if you pickle for Malekith, does it carry over to the Ashen Capital?
This sucks.
Oh well, we can for sure save a pickle by beating Gideon and Godfrey back to back. Wait until he finishes monologuing, and 3-minute timer, go. Will Godfrey still be free? He has really high frost resistance, but it's absurd how fast the Claymore applies it with Chilling Mist. Also absurd how fast he rips through Tish and how much damage we takes from the earthquakes. Daddy rips us in half. Thank you, Daddy. Second death this cycle, but even worse, a wasted pickle and a wasted rune arc. And another wasted rune arc, because he kills us again. This is where I'm generally starting to feel that plus of the New Game Plus hitting. Well, actually, I start to feel it at Malekith, so this is a little later. But yeah, you get it. Endgame, they scale up more. Attempt 3, we get stance breaks in better places and just greed through the final earthquake. We're heading in to fight Radagon and forgot to take off the silver tier mask. That reduces our damage. NG plus God. Still no damage investment and a penalty. How's the damage?
That's hot.
Honestly, I think the other stats are placebos. The only ones that matter are the ones that make your bars big. You can see the bars getting bigger. But right at the end, I forgot to put the golden scarab on.
Big mistake. You shouldn't have done that.
In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. 500,000 runes, that's like a side of fries at the end of our run. Dragon Marrow is getting the sauce first this time, starting with the Blackblade Kindred, who is janking further away than ever before. Why are you over here? We get so far away, Tish starts picking fights with the Vulgar Militia. Grail next, can we get him with the same pickle? Yeah, I sure hope we can. But can we get the Putrid Avatar with that same pickle? Not if it starts stalling with Elden Stars Jr. Wait, hold on. I believe in myself. We did it. That's a hat trick. 3 bosses sharing a pickle. You love to see it. Grail is asleep and goes really fast with a little Black Flame Tornado. It's not a boss. I don't have to do it. But yeah, Grail's worth a lot of runes and still scales up as you go up in New Game Plus cycles. It's runes for free. Maybe I should start switching to do Black Flame stuff, but I just kind of feel bad about doing that since we don't have faith investment. So we won't until almost the end of the run. No cheese for the Knights Cavalry, that takes too long to set up, so we just whack it. Whacking it's more fun anyway. Whacking it. You can't beat it. All of that is worth an entire level. This is getting so bad. I figured Dragon Barrel would still pay off, but it appears I am wrong. Oh well, in for a penny, in for a pound, so let's pound it with the Beastmen of Farah Missoula and save the pickle from the Knights Cavalry. 27 levels away from Endurance being finished off, Hughes really is the baby brother of Dragon Barrel bosses. Like, sweetie, you know what the other bosses are doing here, right? Get on their level. First, we have to get on the Godskin Apostle's level in the Divine Tower of Caelid. This is going to be such a pain every time. It's so easy to die to gravity in here, unless you're super fast on the sticks and quit out like me. Kinda wish we could go grab the Radon Great Rune and see exactly how big these bars can get, but oh well. Let's stick with Godric's Great Rune. It's helping us do damage, and that's what we need most anyway. Chilling Mist is super unfair against the Godskin Apostle. It just fully freezes those blasphemy noodles. 25 minutes for a Dragon Barrow, jotting that down for later. To the Consecrated Snowfield, which means first the castle's whole, but again, these first cycles are going to be very similar. We're not really getting stats that could let us try a different weapon. Hell, even when we go to strength, that's just gonna make the claymore better. We can still die. The frosty combos of Niall's dual-wielding soldier are a bit too much for us. Attempt 2, we don't get bursted down, and it goes a lot better. Whereas this attempt 3, technically. Do we count NG1? I don't know.
What are the rules?
Run some more errands to get to the Snowfield. That takes about 12 minutes overall. Yikes. At least Niall is dead for when we have to do the Mountaintops bosses. There's only one boss in Mogwin, but he's worth so many runes, so let's go there next. Penguin Noble gets beaten by cold. Should have tried a jacket, my friend. I'll scoop up some more rune arcs in the Dark Cave. Probably worth grabbing them. I don't think we're going to be doing great in the later cycles of NG+, just a feeling I have. Moog has decent frostbite resistance, but the Claymore gets to over 100 stat buildup before you put the cloud out, so that just adds more. It's gonna pop super fast. But Moog is hitting hard and gives us another L. Perfect. I don't want to get flawless victories. That would make this all pretty boring. One of my biggest fears as a creator is not knowing what I'll do when I get too good at the game. Like, it's not a story without conflict. It's just a series of chores. Liturgical Town is another big long chore that's gonna slow us down every time. I wish the gate would just stay open in New Game Plus cycles. This is a puzzle the first time you play it. After that, it's nothing. The bubble blower could be a problem later. That is some big damage if I don't roll right, but rolling right isn't that hard. Swag jump will be landed every time, guaranteed. Loretta gets the hot knife again. Good lord, she is hitting hard now, but we can roll through most of that and get 2 whole levels. One thing won't slow us down in NG+ is the Rotterfall, because we can sprint through it. Love that for me. All right, how's the hardest boss in the game with our weak damage? That's a joke. It's not weak damage. It's bananas damage. It just shouldn't be. Greatsword, Fire, and Tish all combine to absolutely floor her. There are still moves she can go for that'll mess us up, and Tish ends up dying right before the second onion, so we go in there, greed in, and finish her off. Get rotted, but who cares? That's a lot of levels. Consecrated Snowfield time, starting with the Putrid Avatar, and starting with a death to Elden Stars Jr.
You yourself admitted yourself that you suck.
Definitely got to make getting that bull goat a priority, I think. Obviously, it's not hard. I just get a little bumped on the sticks there. Now, the big green turtle isn't a boss, but it does make fighting a boss harder. Also, I got to remember to grab the golden sword from the Elden Beast Remembrance to make this easier in future runs. You know, we're writing this as we go, and that's helpful. For the Death Bird, we slap on Sacred Blade. It really is Serpent Hunter for Death Birds. Honestly, better. It takes 5 shots to the head to win. Time for Theodore Rex. I'm not bringing the octopuses.
Big mistake. You shouldn't have done that.
That magma can really just stun lock you in place too. Attempt 2, still no octopuses, still a big mistake. Still stun locks us in place. Fine, octopi, I'm calling you out of retirement. One last job. I know you're retired, you're just trying to tend your garden in the shade, but they are pretty passive today. Once we finally do get to them, our stance pressure mixed with theirs clears them out pretty fast. And that's actually enough to max out our endurance at 84. It only took 154 bosses too, so almost double the previous two stats combined, also 17 hours total. Oh shit. This is gonna be very bad, isn't it?
'Cause I'm long and I'm strong and I'm down to get the friction on. So, lady.
Forlorn Cave, Misbegotten, and you know, I think I'd rather hit Begotten with a big sword. Now, one Knight's Cavalry isn't fun, but what if you got to fight two Knight's Cavalry? Wouldn't that be extra not fun? Torrent's health does not scale with NG+ cycles, meaning that it dies really, really fast, and this is just New Game Plus 1. Then we get invaded by a Nastia. For a second, it's just pure chaos. Thankfully, the AI on the Knight's Cavalry breaks. The game balances itself out sometimes. Doing a lot of sitting to stream these videos. Hopefully I'm not gonna end up in a yellow anus ruins situation. Astel, Stars of Darkness. Cool name, but dog, stars are the thing in space that aren't darkness. That's like calling a candy bar Mounds, almonds of having almonds. It doesn't have almonds. That's the point. Little benefit of NG+, the caves you've entered are still on the map, so you know where the consecrated Snowfield catacombs are, but we still do have to do the consecrated Snowfield catacombs, which is terrible. One of the worst ones for sure. Margaret's Shackle makes it a little better, but it is way too overganked and way too over-unfunned. But part of that is all the gank. Once you get through it to fight the putrid Grave Warden Duelist though, that also kind of sucks. He's like way too weak. Maybe they think you're fighting him with reduced flasks from running through the catacomb? I don't know. Stray Mimic Tier is our last boss for the Snowfield. It will never be hard, but he does use our health bar, so he is a big old butterball, just a big old thickum. Snowfield cleared. Let's do Mountaintops now, starting with a Death Bird who gets to be boss number 200. Congrats, Deathrite Bird. I'm sorry I called you a Death Bird, but I don't respect you, and I don't know what makes you different enough from a Deathrite Bird to make me remember that. We're trying to save another pickle by hitting the Erdtree avatars. By the time we get over there, we have about 1:30 left. I took some time to put some fire on the sword instead of holy, and I think it was worth it. Only 70 more levels to go of strength. Yikes. Godskin Boo in the Spirit Caller Cave. I don't know why we're stuck with the hot knife. I think it's just Phil making a little mistake sometimes. It's a debilitating condition. That Black Flame is really carving through Tish. We might have to tag her out for the Mimic Tier soon. At the moment, I don't want to. Our Mimic is going to be too stupid to two-hand the Claymore. Giant Conquering Hero's Grave is honestly not that bad of a catacomb. A little Closet Fire Monk can be annoying, but if you have Margaret's Shackle, you don't have to deal with them. We do have it, but it didn't seem to work, so we end up fighting the Fire Monk anyway. Now we just have to bait this giant. We did this a while ago. Don't you remember, you silly goose? We beat the Hero of Zamor and get the armor set and the sword. Honestly, I don't think they need to drop all of it here. Why does the one in the Weeping Peninsula drop Radagon's Scar Seal? Drop the sword. I want it earlier for secret starting class reasons. The Giant Mountaintops Catacombs is the worst one until I go to another one. Then that one will be the worst. But for now, we're at 30 deaths and 203 bosses, so it's still a really good ratio. I'm not popping a rune arc until we've solved this thing so I don't accidentally lose another one. And it takes forever to solve. Even if I know where I'm going, I think it would still require a ton of running. I really, really hate this place. Hopefully by the time we hit NG+7, I will remember how it works.
I doubt it, but you never know.
There's a tree spirit at the bottom. Whatever. Hey, we haven't done Radon yet? Okay, let's try to one cycle him for fun, and we get so close. Big bummer. Takes another hit, and we're done though. With him out of the way, we can go into the catacombs. Yay. War Dead aren't that bad, as long as you hold up 2 mana before your interaction. It's another tree spirit, but this one's putrid, which means it has rot, and takes more damage from fire. We have fire. I'm always worried about forgetting to do the Saoirse Ronan River well, so let's just do that now. We're cleaning up this cycle at this point. None of the bosses really matter. They're just not going to drop a useful amount of runes anyway. Lighting all the torches to fight a weaker, less valuable moose is killing me. Such a time suck. I'm weirdly excited for when we're done with NG+7 because then the bosses won't be unique anymore. We can just sprint to the Elden Beast, wipe out the Dragon Barrow, Snowfield, Haligtree, Moog, and the Mountaintops and reset every time. Everything will be worth a pickle. Moose die, Dragonkin Soldier die next, and that's all the Saoirse Ronan bosses. But it also took 12 minutes because there's a lot of running. More underground time. We still haven't done the standard Mimic Tier yet. This routing is so weird for me now, but hey, I'll take it if I can delay the Valiant Gargoyles and Fia's champs forever. I'd be so happy. I'm trying to be extra haha and give the Mimic the jar cannon with no ammo. Then we try to use Black Flame Tornado to get around the big health pool. It was not faster. Just use the hot knife through the Mimic butter. Let's light the lights again. This one has less spread out torches and a boss that's worth more than twice as many runes.
From what, 2 to 4?
Yep.
Holy good against Moose. I don't have Holy, but Tish does. Even with all this health, I hate the Valiant Gargoyles. Their bodies don't work. The slightest elevation makes them immune to a crit. It's just weak sauce. But at least, Nokron is done. Again. There are 3 bosses in Deeproot, Siluria being first because I'm worried I will forget her. Her tree is a weapon I considered using for this run, but the faith requirement stops that. Same with Blasphemous Blade and Black Knife. All would be great for different reasons. I should get some cheese for Fia's champs. I fucking hate these dudes. I'm not really embarrassed dying to them though. It's just like a lottery. With the damage resistance penalty from Radigan Sorceal, we kind of just get got sometimes. Not sure why I'm going for Plassey instead of 40 now. I think I was just worried I'd forget him. Don't worry, next NG cycle I'll have a list to make sure we're good. This one is getting Craig Blade. I want stance breaks so it doesn't move. We kind of get caught in the Omega laser, but not really, and make it out for the win. Like, Fia's champs killed us. Plassey didn't. That's what I mean when I say it's just kind of a dice roll. The dice are in our favor, but at this point, sometimes things are gonna kill us. Hey, another boss I'd maybe forget, the Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella. Sick arena, sick entrance, but such a long run after such a long elevator ride. Wait, maybe you can get here from the Incel River main. Maybe I'll try that routing next time. Can't go up the study hall without the statue, and we still haven't done the Ranni quest a second time. Let's fight Loretta, baby. It's just charged attacks. That's it. That's the fight. And now we go fight Exicus? Phil, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you routing the way you do? Do you want to be lost? I think we just wanted to round off a level before the end of the stream. We only need 63 more levels of strength. It will be fine. Okay, this stream is a little rough. It's been a minute since we worked on this video when we had extra time because we don't have a lot of extra time. So Streamphil thought we were doing Caelid, and sure, I guess. Putting a note in for the next stream that we have to go back and do Fortis Acts. It's all very confusing. Knight's Cavalry and Deathbird, dead. O'Neill, you silly goose, thinking you can beat us in a fight. Don't you know we're too good for you and all of your goons? Horsery Town and the Nox duo. At least the Caelid bosses are close together. In 10 minutes, we were able to beat 4 bosses. That's gonna help with the time. I don't know where the real entrance to the Celia tunnel is, so I always just warp through Limgrave. Whatever. The Falling Star Beast gets cooked, even if Tish gets distracted by the spiders outside. Maybe I should find the real entrance. Otherwise, you get trapped and have to run back to the Grace. That can't be good for time. Caelid Catacombs are mercifully short. The lever is right in front of the boss, and it dies fast to Sacred Blade. This is all getting very deja vu feel, isn't it? Like fighting 2 pumpkin heads, that's so familiar to me. And the Clean Rots, it's so weird fighting them this late into the run. Probably would have been easier with Flaming Strike instead of Sacred Blade, but we would have had to take time to swap the Ash of War, though that would also make the Putrid Avatar faster, so maybe we should have done it. Honestly, the best move is probably just leaving Craig Blade on the whole time since it's neutral to everything. I always forget what the Erdtree Watchdog Duo Catacomb is called. I looked away while writing, so Chafe City Catacombs, sure. The early part of the game is really where you see the boss numbers inflate. Very few of them drop anything worth using, and we drop to our death. It doesn't matter how high your level is, gravity is still the ultimate killer. Back again, kill the Frenzied Duelist, cross him off our to-do list. Gale Tunnel is Spanish for gay, the tunnel, and Magma Worm is Spanish for I don't know. One of the soldiers ran in after us, so he gets killed by the worm. That's pretty funny. Celia hideaway time for some more Crystallians and some more almost gravity deaths, but I quit out too fast, or not. Oh well, Crystallian Trio is a bad boss, but 3 times. That's gotta make it good, right? No? Oh well. Altus probably smells better than Caelid. I bet our Tarnished will appreciate that. The Knight's Cavalry won't. Gillica dies super fast.
Slow news day.
And you know what? I think we gotta start yada yada yadaing. This isn't really interesting, and it's the part of the video I was the most worried about. Like I've described every boss fight in this game multiple times over the history of the channel, but I haven't done it multiple times in one video. So let's go fast. Invisible Assassin gets frostbitten. You can follow the cloud to hit it. Garrus gets dead. You can murder him to kill him. Perfumer and Misbegotten, more like you missed with the perfume because this boss fight stinks. That reminds me to do the Crucible Knight Misbegotten. Want to put a boss somewhere but can't think of anything to do? Throw a Misbegotten in. Now you got variety. Omen Killer and Miranda? In this economy? Godefroy the Grafted is just reusing the Godric fight. Couldn't let him be his own thing, could you? You can also fight the Bell-Bearing Hunter.
At night.
Then remember to do the Bell-Bearing Hunter you forgot in the Dragon Barrel.
At night.
Ah, I'm getting attacked by a Deathbird.
at night.
I would feel bad talking shit about Dr. Wormface, but I know he can handle criticism. 2 Crystallions, we just fought 3. With Rot, that's easy. Blasphemous Noodle by the windmills, Jesus Christ, that was fast. Sanguine Noble, more like quick win against the noble. Assassinate the Black Knife Assassin. Ban sex from land sex. Sorry Vike. Don't forget to wash your tainted hero's grave. Oh, it's sainted hero's grave? The joke kinda needs it to be taint. So let's just leave that there. It's not a shithole, but it's close to one. Hero of Zamor, done. Wait, funny thing happens. We get stuck in a pole. That's pretty cool. We're just like the hanging Chad. You like that year 2000 election joke? Probably not. Our viewer demographics make it pretty clear most of you are too young for that one. Crucible Duo, do die. Then we get lost in the Ariza side tomb. Time suck. This really is just a time suck. Eventually, we get to the Grave Warden Duelist, but it takes way too long. Tibia Mariner, it would go faster with Holy, but who has time to go fast? Then another Erdtree Burial Watchdog, and we're up to boss 253. What's special about that? I don't know. But I do know that it's time for the Gelmir bosses, like the Kindred of Rot. Kinda wish we could put 2 extra Rot talismans on, but alas, talismans don't stack. Oh, also, I lied. We had more bosses in Altus, the Onyx Lord in the Sealed Tunnel. I think we almost forgot him because we normally do that at the beginning of the run. Magma Worms can be dangerous. This one goes fine. Maggie can be dangerous just because of the super gank that surrounds her. Today, it goes fine. And the Gelmir Hero's Grave can cause some gravity or chariot deaths, but we're just dummy thick and tank through it to fight the Red Wolf. Climbing ladders, it's so supreme. The Margot boss fight is not. I think she's the easiest demi-human in the game and the hardest to get to. Full-grown Falling Star Beast, yeah, I'm groaning, spelled differently, homophone. Ulcerated Tree Spirit is our last Gelmir boss, except Volcano Manor. We didn't do that yet this run? Huh, again, the routing's so weird for me. Godskin Noble first, that's no issue. We chill, that missed, and that's the end of the stream. We need to find a way to be more efficient because this is not tenable. And after recording that bit of script, Phil died. I'm kidding. I'm fine. Maybe a little burnt out. So what happened was we were doing this when we had spare time and we didn't have enough spare time. All the other all bosses runs that are like 165 bosses took us a couple weeks, and we would do shorter videos that took us a little less than a week and fill in those extra days with the run that took 165 bosses down. So it got to the point where it was about a week ago from today. Today's Wednesday, and we didn't have 5 of the runs done. So I couldn't keep writing the script and had to just buckle down and run for the run to be ready for the DLC, which comes out today. Thursday, when you're watching this today. So you're gonna miss a lot of the run. I decided it would probably be best to show at least the last section of the run, but yeah, we cut out a lot of it, like 50 hours of it. And that's just how it goes, which kind of stinks, but it's okay. Because let's be honest, the DLC video is the one you all care about the most anyway. This was fun, and well, no, it wasn't. Doing this one sucked. This is F tier, bottom of F tier, the worst one we've done, by far. Just stinks. It's not fun. It's not fun. At least dying's interesting. This is just a slog of repeating the same thing over and over again. So that being said, we should be ready for the DLC, and that's exciting. So please watch that next week, and please enjoy the rest of this video that is just the last stream we did. Stream number 16. Here are the last 17 bosses, which means we had to skip, lots. Like 80% of the run, roughly. Huge bummer for me, but oh well. We just wrapped up Nile, we're in NG+7, and you might notice our weapons finally changed to power-stanced curved greatswords. Specifically the Bloodhound Fang and the Zamor curved sword. Dexterity was our lowest stat requirement at a nice 69, but if I want percentile damage, why not go for something like Black Flame or the Black Knife Ash of War? Certainly we have at least a little faith by the time we're at NG7, right? No! We're only like halfway through intelligence. My plan was actually to swap to Night Comet while holding 2 Staves of Loss. I was gonna use spells, everyone. Spells I've always said are good, but we never get there. Mimic Tier is the first boss of this day, and this kind of stuff is why we need the percentile damage. It has our health bar. We have too much health. I'm not sure if the HP actually scales with the new game cycles since it's a mimic, but oh well, still too much. If I gained anything from this run, I really know the layouts of every catacomb and dungeon, even previous stinkers like the Consecrated consecrated Snowfield catacombs go relatively quickly now. Now, to confirm we're at NG+7, let's see that damage from the Putrid Grey Ward and Duelist. That's with the Lionel set on, which, oh, okay, I got a lot of questions about this one in chat. Why not use the Bulgo? Well, I'm using the pants. Everything else is just heavier and not as good as the Lionel set. It gives you more poise, but after around 52 poise, you're just putting extra frosting on top of the cupcake. Nothing worse in the world than an overfrosted cupcake, and it's turned me off to cupcakes in general. Everyone making cupcakes is doing equal parts frosting to cake, and you're all mad. You're all wrong. Anyway, yeah, Ritual Shield Talisman is the only thing stopping us from getting absolutely shreked. Of course, we also have some doubters in the chat saying they knew a way to do better damage, and like, really? Check out these buddies against the Putrid Avatar. It resists slash, and they're hitting this hard. You're just wrong. Technically, a second Bloodhound Fang would actually have better reach and scaling than the Zamor Curve Sword, but the Ice Storm is simply too good when bosses have this much health. Like Theodore Rex, already a bit of a damage sponge, but turning it up even higher with 30% more health. Right next door, it's the Forlorn Cave, and dog, do you see why we had to skip 80% of this video? As we fight the Misbegotten, we sort of just win. There's nothing worth mentioning. Oh, okay, something kind of interesting I noticed against Knight's Cavalry. We have the combo boosting Physic tier on because Millicent's Prosthesis is the best +5 to 1 stat talisman, since it also gives you a combo boost. And Power Stancing makes combos happen fast, but they happen even faster against the Knight's Cavalry, since each hit will hit the horse and the rider, effectively getting 4 hits of a combo for 1 button press. Also, we have to fight them on the ground now because they one-shot Torrent. Back to things not worth talking about, NG+7 Astel. This one's only really different than the Incel one because the grab makes a bunch of Astels. It's the only difference beyond more health and damage. The damage was enough to kill us in 1 hit from full health in NG+6. There's some footage of that, but it's somewhere in the 70 hours of stuff, and it's already Tuesday, so anyway, this time we don't get grabbed. Have I shown you the amazing power washing technique? You know the sacred relic sword that everyone uses for the frog murder that normally maxes out their level? Well, we were using it to power wash Turtle Toes, which works great. Sure, we had to give up 50,000 runes to get this sword, but in the grand scheme of things, that's like nothing. We need almost 2 million runes to level up at this point. We're not gonna miss the goal because of the sacred relic sword, and also, that's why we're not doing the other turtles. That's another thing people were asking. Why aren't you doing all the turtles? Turtles aren't worth that much. They waste a lot of time. The Claymore hasn't totally been retired yet. We will still use it for Sacred Blade on the Deathbirds. The only faith boost we have is from the Physic tier, but these things are still so weak, they can't handle it. Weak being to Sacred Blade. They have killed me a lot. I'm sure that the Liturgical Town could be bad if we got hit, but I've gotten a lot better at rolling at the right time. Can confirm, through all 8 runs, we do not miss a single swag jump. 16 perfect swaggy jumps. Raw talent, jot that down, Cube. Loretta was always a glass cannon, but boy, that scaling hit the Haligtree hard. Holy moly, the cannon is cannoning today. Still glassing though, as well. Melania honestly hasn't been that bad. Like, don't get me wrong, she's killed us a few times, but the Rot Dragonkin soldier's the real asshole. Tish is dying really fast. This is kind of the first time that's happened though, and by really fast, I usually mean at the beginning of phase 2. This was our first death of the day, and some amount of total deaths.
Phil, how will you do the ranking if you don't know the number of total deaths?
Sorry to break it to you, big dog. The rankings don't fucking matter. They're just at the end of the video because tier lists scratch a little section of humans' banana brains that crave order. They've never been accurate since I get better every run. Like, is the Loretta Halberd really the best weapon in the game? No. I'm just even decent at Melania now. This is the first time she's killed us twice this run. Tish is famously helpful, but again, she's also almost always dead before phase 2 really gets going. That's the harder phase. Stance resistance is also tuned up. I believe every boss has like 40% more resistance at this point. Overall, it takes about 10 minutes to get the winning run on attempt number 3. Oh, let's talk about time. I found for all bosses, it generally took me around 10 hours, which averages out to around 3 minutes and 40 seconds per boss. The average varies wildly through the game though. In Limgrave, we can get every boss in 2 minutes, no exaggeration. 2 minutes per boss, not 2 minutes for all of Limgrave. But in the Mountaintops of the Ride Your Horse for 5 goddamn minutes, things get slower. Now Moog is pretty fast. This is actually the first time we one-cycle him, first by hitting the Zamor Ice Storm, then swapping to a 2-handed Bloodhound Fang for maximum bleed. Helps get around the nerfed status buildup from power stance weapons. Now, it's just plot stuff. Kind of. One more exception. But first, it's plot stuff. The Godskin duo are both weak to slash. Curved greatswords deal slash damage. This wasn't a concern. Land the final swag jump, touch the grace, it's time for Placiduous Sacks. Now here's a boss that gets worse when we dump to the Claymore. He has slash resistance that is super high and his health is frankly absurd. Add in the fact that he teleports all the goddamn time and has hitboxes that hit about 30 yards away from the point of impact, you got a recipe for a slog. A first try slog, but a slog nonetheless. Malekith absolutely deletes Teach. Swapping to the Mimic tier might have been a good option, but those blade beams she sends out are so huge it's hard to say no to them. And we can't give the Mimic a black blade because we are still so far away from leveling Faith. Starting to wonder if we're actually going to get all those stats.
I doubt it, but you never know.
Gideon has been a stinker. I've noticed the bosses that do best in these late cycles are the babies who have Gatling guns. If you already did big damage, now you do bigger damage. If you couldn't take a hit, now you kinda can. Still a first try win. Godfrey has also caused problems. The earthquakes basically open up the ground to swallow Tish whole, but I'm pretty good at phase 2, so no issue there. Finally, Radagon and the Elden Beast. We're ending it on the final boss of the game, and these two are totally fine. Elden Beast even does the Elden Flurry, the attack I suck most at dodging, but after everything we've done, my comfort level on the sticks is at an all-time high. There we go, everybody, 1,320 bosses! Naturally, that means we will have enough levels to max out these stats when we hit this grace. Obviously, they're going to give us enough levels so that we can get all the way there. Let's do it. Let's get in there. Let's get in there and level it up. Let's go in and let's level it up. 1, 2... After 84 hours of grinding, 50 of which were from the past 7 days, we didn't even come close to maxing out our stats. Given all the extra items and the bonuses, part of me hoped that we'd at least be close, but gamers, we are still 422,450,763 runes away from the bare minimum to get max stats. Like, that's with the 159 extra levels from the gear. Basically, despite looking like we're over halfway, we're barely a third of the way there. We would need to beat the Elden Beast at New Game Plus 7 332 more times to get there. This was a fool's errand, and frankly, I should have known that from the start. So, what to do? Well, I tried doing it with frogs in my spare time, but remember, I don't really have spare time. Even with the frogs getting blasted, we only get a level every 5 minutes, with each level taking a little bit longer. There simply is not enough time. The only solution I can think of is to cut all of our stats down from max to maximum efficiency. Just about every stat stops scaling around 60, so we'll go into the DLC at 60 and everything, and basically have the same experience. Perfect is the enemy of good. So I guess that'll be it. Tonight, we're gonna start streaming the DLC with this build in New Game Plus 7. No need for Radagon's or Marika's Sword Seal. We're gonna strip naked, drop all of our weapons, and only use weapons and armor we find in the DLC. We've never done a two-parter here before because I don't think it's a good content strategy. But sadly, this one just doesn't feel over. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. The DLC starts now. Join the Patreon to support the channel. It's the best place to do it, and where we get to keep most of the money. You'll also get the most exclusive videos and get to vote on which DLC run we'll do first. My money's on Mesmer, but you can put your money on something else. Oh, you don't have to pay extra money per vote. Like, you just, if you're on the Patreon, you vote. That was worded weird. Anyway, bye. Streaming. I'm doing it. Go watch it.